everyone, this is PamelaTopjian, and this is the 10-year anniversary of coming to California from Missouri. It's a story of holding on to hope, of moving on, and rebuilding. So I'm hoping that it will inspire somebody who may be hopeless or feeling helpless to know that it's possible to live a better life than where you are right now. So I thought I'd share on this week's video, since it's been 10 years today, recording on the 30th, and it'll come out tomorrow on July 1st. So I need to give a trigger warning if you need it. I'm going to be talking a little bit about or just mentioning the unaliving thoughts that I was having. On TikTok, they might say story time. So I guess this falls under the vlog category, a video blog. So after my second divorce, the second toxic, abusive marriage, I was on my own for the first time, really. I was on my own for a bit with my son and helping my cousin with her newborn twins, their first year of life, and that was my early 20s. But living completely alone, I hadn't done before until this time. I was excited and proud of myself for getting out of that toxic marriage. And I had a decent job and no one at home to take care of or who was relying on me for anything. So I thought everything would be great now. Well, it wasn't. I spiraled downward into depression really pretty quickly. And I was always very fearful and anxious. I was also mad at myself why this was happening. I didn't understand why I was feeling this way when everything should be so great now. And as I said, it wasn't. So I was kind of mad at myself for that. So at this time, a friend was going through some similar mental health issues and was considering moving to California for a fresh start, and mentioned to me that I might want to do the same thing. So I let my landlord know that I might be moving out of state. And they said, we were considering selling the house anyway. Can you be out in 2 weeks? Like, well, I guess I'm gonna try, right? And so I was renting a tiny little one-bedroom house. And so, yeah, it was just an owner renting out just independently. Luckily, it wasn't a management company. So I started trying to figure out how to actually do this. And with the condition I was in, I had some poor decision making and fell for something that wasn't what I thought it was, wasn't what it was presented to me as, but still I made it out to California. I had gotten rid of everything and was left with essentially everything I had left in a suitcase. I did leave behind some photos and memories from when my children were little, drawings and report cards and baby books and that kind of stuff. I had left behind with a friend in Missouri to retrieve later because I knew I couldn't bring that on the bus, and I had also sold my car. So I got a one-way ticket on a Greyhound bus and stepped on that bus the night of June 30th, 2016 in Springfield, Missouri. I arrived in Sacramento on 4th of July in 2016. I was feeling mostly numb for most of the ride, just kind of like, just get me there, just get me there, just get me there, like just waiting. Didn't really engage too much with people, a little bit here and there when they engaged with me, but I wasn't real friendly or outgoing at all. And I do have a story that I've told several times about somebody sitting next to me that ended up spilling alcohol on me. They had alcohol in a water bottle. At the next stop, I had to change my clothes and everything, and they were kicked off the bus. It's kind of a, I don't know. It's kind of a funny story, but I'm not going to share it here. I mean, that was just the real short version. So anyway, that happened while I was on the bus. So I was met by the person that I had made plans with to pick me up and started a scary 3 weeks in a very bad situation and very upset and mad at myself while trying to still keep up the facade that everything was fine and okay, which someday I'll share that whole story. But within that 3 weeks, I found myself just trying to find a way out. And I did. And I was proud of myself for getting out within 3 weeks. I was a licensed nurse at the time. However, you need to apply for your nursing license with the State Board of Nursing if you move out to another state. And it was a really long process. Also, I wasn't even sure that I was staying in California at that time. And in that mental state that I was in, I wasn't sure I could have actually done the job. Eventually, I found myself in a home with a very generous new friend, a woman, hi Abby, who had recently lost her mother, and she was in the process of separating from her husband. She had a few pets and was in the process of clearing out her childhood home and getting it ready for sale. She offered me to stay in exchange for helping her with all of that because she was still working full time and she had, I think, three pets at home. One of which I think maybe two, maybe I think all three of them actually were pretty elderly and had some special needs, and going through the whole process of just losing her mother as well. And like I said, getting this house ready for sale. So she had a lot on her plate, and she had offered me to stay there and just help her when and where I could, which I did. But I was also doing some odd caregiving jobs here and there during that time. And I was able to get some therapy during that time as well. So through my therapy, I really found out that most of what I was feeling wasn't due to the divorce or anything to do with being on my own. It was everything else. I had a lot of childhood trauma, a lot of things that I had never processed through, never talked about, and honestly didn't really think of as trauma. But there was a lot of stuff that happened in my childhood. And then that first marriage, no, real therapy or counseling after that. Quickly got into this other marriage, which I usually say I jumped out of the frying pan and into the fire because it was a bad situation. I went to a much worse situation. And then I had all this childhood trauma piled, it wasn't piled on top, it was buried deep in there. And then when I divorced, it all came crashing down. All of it, all at once. It hit me like a ton of bricks. So I realized that through the therapy, and it helped me to understand why I was in that state at that time, which is huge to be able to understand what happened, to understand what got me here from there. Why am I in this place within my mind and in my life at this time now? So just being able to understand it was very helpful. But through the therapy, I was able to see a tiny bit of hope for the future. I knew that this was truly my last ditch effort. Even though I usually say that getting on the bus was my last ditch effort, therapy was truly that. Because having nightmares, being severely depressed, and very anxious and fearful followed me to California. Of course it did. It wasn't like I could just move far and start fresh, right? So before starting therapy, I thought if therapy didn't help, I wouldn't be here today because I'm not going to live my life in this state of mind. If I can't get out of this, I don't want to live. So here we are on the 10-year anniversary, and my life has never been better. I was 50 years old when I got on that bus with very few possessions, going alone to a place I had never been, feeling hopeless and helpless and unsure what even the next day would bring. And now I just turned 60. I'm married to my later in life love of my life, I like to say. We've been married for 6 years now, and this is the most loving, respectful, and equal relationship that I've ever had. A relationship that I didn't even know existed, that I didn't even know was possible. We just purchased a beautiful home in a nice area, and everything that I do, I absolutely love. It was a real process to get here. It wasn't just so cut and dry and so quick. It was a process. Every year was better than the year before, and it's still going that way. But it was a real process. A lot of healing went into getting to this state of mental wellness and to a place where I truly feel inner peace within my heart and my soul and my life and true wellness. I never thought any of this was possible, as I said. So please hold on to hope. Hold on to that hope. I know I've said that many places before and many times before, and I will never stop saying it. You really never know. Just the same as something that bad can happen at any moment. It's also true that something amazing could happen at any moment, something completely unexpected. Any moment, you can turn around, you can get a call, you can get an email, you can get a text, you can meet somebody. Something can happen that you never thought possible, that opens doors for you, that offers opportunities, that helps you to think in a different way. Maybe even this video, just hearing this short little bit of this short version of this story, maybe helps you to start thinking differently. So you just never know. I do believe in miracles, and I now believe in happily ever after. And that's my story of coming to California. My hope, as I said in the beginning, is that this will inspire those who maybe feel stuck or feel hopeless to know that it's possible to live a better life, to get out of that mental state, and to feel some sense of peace and wellness within yourself. So if you have stuck around to the end and you aren't subscribed, please subscribe. I have a few playlists on this channel, so please check out the tabs on the channel page and read the description below for more information on my books and where else to find me. And if you have a suggestion for a topic you'd like me to talk about, sometimes I dive deep into some sort of meaning of life or philosophical kinds of questions and go down some rabbit holes. And mostly I talk about mental health or holistic health. And sometimes, like I said, just like a vlog story time type of video as well. But I also have my Holistic Connections podcast tab on here as well. So thank you so very much for being here, sharing this time and this space with me. I really sincerely appreciate you all.